you're one of ESPN's faces of college lacrosse, and you're also one of the lead voices for the Premier Lacrosse League. Did you play lacrosse? Have you always liked lacrosse? Like, or was that more of just an opportunity to call games that you kind of like jumped at that when it was presented?
So I never played lacrosse, which I can tell you certainly does bother a segment of the lacrosse audience. I always they want to know why, and I mean the real answer was my high school didn't have it, and if I wanted to go outside of my high school and play it, we didn't have the money to do so.
Yeah.
So it was pretty logical. I went to Syracuse. I was a scholarship kid, and when I got to Syracuse, the college radio station there, WAER, they would say, you have an opportunity here to call college football, men's basketball, home and away. And if you want to do that, learn lacrosse, because they always did every men's lacrosse game as well. So I would go to high school games and learn the sport and basically have a Lacrosse for Dummies book before it was called Lacrosse for Dummies. Learned the game, picked up some nuances. And when I was at Syracuse over my 4 years, they had a player by the name of Mike Powell, who's considered one of the 3 or 4 greatest college players of all time. This guy was basically Pete Maravich, Wayne Gretzky with a lacrosse stick. So I got to watch a transcendent player, which, again, for 4 years, that makes you a fan of the sport. And so I left Syracuse being a fan of the sport, even though I got there knowing nothing about it, and I would follow it. So when I got to ESPN, there was an opportunity to do a lacrosse game. John Vassallo, who's the coordinating producer down in Charlotte, I'm down there for signing day. We're talking in a hallway, and he's like, yeah, I do the event stuff down here. Have you done games? I said, yeah, sure. Baseball, basketball, football. I've done some lacrosse. And he goes, oh, you've done some lacrosse, have you? I might need a guy, for lacrosse. So I said, yeah, if somebody calls in sick, consider my hand up. And he said, well, would you want to do a game? I don't mind throwing you a game, see how you do. And I said, yeah. So I remember going to Washington, D.C. for Notre Dame, Georgetown. Probably had a month to prepare, so I knew everybody's grandmother at the time. This was 2010. Did the one game, really liked it, really enjoyed just play-by-play, getting back out there, being in the field. And then that led to some football that fall, and then that led to some more lacrosse, and they steadily grew my role on the lacrosse front. But yeah, I did have, at the time, probably a 10, 15-year history with the sport in terms of following it. And that made, again, the transition to doing it on a regular basis pretty seamless. So, yes, if you're asking, did I grow up with the sport? No, I did not. Had no exposure to the sport until I got to college. Fell in love with it, watching it and covering it in college. And obviously, it stayed that way.